Morning,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, CBGR agents and affiliates. Peter, good morning. Today we have
Morning,
John
Ruben.
Wax. Good morning. Today we have John Wax as our affiliate spotlight. However, before I hand it over to him, I want to remind everybody that, yeah, it's raining out there. Hopefully everybody is warm and cozy and dry in their home, but you can still prospect your client, stay top of mind. It's a good way to stay dry, but pick up the phone, text your sphere of influence, email, build a campaign. So think of ways how you can have today and the next couple of days that are going to be raining a productive way so you can feel good about yourself, accomplishing some prospecting, and also try to get some business and stuff. So don't let the rain detour you from staying top of mind and accountable to your prospecting. So with that, I am going to hand it over to John Wax with Snap NHD as our affiliate spotlight today.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Peter. It's great to be here. I'm blessed to be a part of this team and this wonderful offices. I just want to let you know that Snap NHD is in three ways endorsed by CAR. We're in the drop-down menu of the CAR forms, so you can use us for your offers and your RPAs. And we're licensed by CAR to be able to include the FHDS CAR form with the decision tree in our reports automatically when the property is determined to be in a high or very high fire state level fire zone, hazard zone, okay? And then lastly is the wildfire determination report. We were the first ones to be connected with CAR, asked about the report, and best way to facilitate it. We are the only company, there are several others, that are able to send a request for the report. When you use our portal, it goes directly to Fortress Fire, it's processed and comes back to you. The other companies, and we're told by our clients this, that there's a questionnaire that comes back and then you have to send that back and then they process the order. You do not have to do that with us, okay? Some of the tools that we have, I'll go into in a second. I just want to show you the latest regarding the changes. The biggest change right now is here we are, the NHD statement page. On the NHD statement page, there was always the very high fire severity zone and the wildland fire zone right down here. They've added, based on talking to us, and we're the one a proponent in doing this, to make it more clear to you if the property is in a high state level determined zone, which is right here, and we check it off for you right up there, or in a very high level local hazard fire zone. So that's in there too. These are this is a sample of what we would do. You don't have to worry about it, but you can see it in a glance, because what we found out is they would get the form and then they say, we don't see it checked off anywhere on the NHD statement. So now it will check off on the NHD statement. Before, you had to go in to the table of contents to see if it was in a high fire state level determined zone. And that's why we included the form. That's the only two times that you have to use the form, if the property is in a very high or high state level determined zone. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, this is the differences. These are the changes. Same thing. You can sign off on it. We relieve you of all liability by checking off this box. And then when the buyer that you chose us in good faith and that you haven't looked up any information, and then when the buyer signs off on it, it says that he received a copy, understands it, and read it. And then you're relieved. That's the only page you have to get signed, unless you have to deal with the FHDS card form. Okay, but that covers the entire report. Any questions? So this is the page you got to look at. The other pages that you can look at is this one. We tell you in 5 places whether or not the property is in a high fire zone or very high fire severity zone, which may require the use of the form. We also give you links to order based on CAL FIRE the inspection if necessary. It is not required in any of the LA City or LA County fire zones or LA County. And then also to learn about more of the defensible space and what's required in regards to that. The table, we have a snapshot. The snapshot will tell you in seconds whether or not there's anything you have to pay attention to. And here's another spot where we tell you whether or not a flood zone, special flood hazard, and the very high fire is in there. And then down here, you can click and get the booklets. Booklets are English and Spanish. Okay, this is just a tool. The tool is the defensible space form. The defensible space form, if you answer the questions, it automatically fills in the defensible space part of the form in our reports. But basically, it's this right here. We only know the property information. You'll have to put the parties in here. This talks about definitions. You have to be in a very high fire severities, high or very high fire severity zone, 1 to 4 units, residential. It's a residential property. A TDS is required. And then only for home hardening if it was built before 2010, because in 2010, the building codes changed and now buildings have to be in line with home hardening materials. Okay. And then here's the home hardening part of the report. You only have to fill this out if the property's built before 2010. And these are some of the, eaves and soffits, what kind of window panes. I can't read it all, it's too small. But single pane windows, loose or missing bird stops, rain gutters. If they have the covers, I did go out and get the covers with leaf guard or leaf filter. And that's what, and by the way, this is only for you to ask questions to the seller. The seller is the one who's responsible for filling this out. Just like this right here. Okay, in LA County, it will say under number 3, the property is or is not subject to a local vegetation ordinance. It is, and I'll show you where that is in the report. Okay, and then when you go down here, your best bet is to go to number 3. There is a local vegetation ordinance in place. The buyer takes it on himself to be responsible for getting the inspection and compliance documentation within 1 year after close of escrow so that you can still close your deals on time. Only if you have a smart or a proactive seller would you choose one of the other ones, 5 or 6, because of the fact that they actually got the report and it asks about specifics about the report, and that you should get the report into escrow so that it can be given to the buyer to review. Okay, so that's what that's for. And then the signature page, the signature here. Okay. I wanted to get to, and we automatically put a flood certificate in every report. So you'll know whether or not there's what the issue is, if there's any flood and what it would be. But I wanted to show you this right here. Okay. On the first page. So this is the in-out determinations, reflects the NHD statement, but it goes further because it gives you the county, city, as well as the state and any additional disclosures. When the additional disclosure, you click on that and it gives you information, definitions about the what is home hardening and what is defensible space. You can click on these and it will tell you where you can find out more about them and how you navigate it. Here you can get a state, request a state level inspection. But right here, guys, this gives you the property information and it gives you the actual ordinance where we found the information of the local management ordinance And then over here, there's only 2 counties in California that require an inspection and compliance done before close of escrow. It is Truckee and Paradise. They're both up north. 2 city counties up there. And this one says no because it's not. And then right here it says it's in a very high fire severity zone. Okay, I just wanted to show you that part. All right, that's that for that. And let's go to something else real quick. Back. It's not going back. All right, let me show you something else. Estimator. You guys, a lot of you guys, when you're going out or you're looking at properties for your buyers and sellers, you want to know, hey, am I going to be able to afford the supplemental taxes? So I'll just use my address. And in seconds, you'll be able to see whether or not what the property taxes were for that property. Excuse me a second. And what month is supposed to close? I'll say next month. Boom. Now you can see full tax for next year, 1 to 2 supplemental taxes, and when the taxes are due, and then there's the full amount of the tax. You can use that on any property. It's a very skilled and easy tool to use as far as that goes. Okay. And you guys are wondering whether or not you're doing leases. A lot of you are doing leases now. I would get the lease report. Get the lease report. You'll be able to see the two flood zones, and you have to supply that. The landlord has to apply it to the tenant to let him know whether or not properties are affected by flood zones.
John, I have a question, Jeffrey.
Yes.
The tax estimator, is that on the part of that, and where can we get this? If I need the tax estimator, how can I get it?
Okay, so what you do is you go to my website, which is www.snapnhd.com. And at the very top of the page, you saw the initial homepage. I'm trying to get to that. Maybe it's here. I'm trying to get back to it.
I think
Is there an app
John,
also or no?
you're on
What's that?
John, you're in I see the other tab that you have open up on
Yeah.
top. I think that's where the homepage is at.
I can't see
The
it.
second one.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
You got it right there.
That's the one. Okay, now I can see it. Okay, so what you do is log on to it. You'll see this page right here. And then at the top of the page, it'll say estimator. See where my cursor is?
Got it.
Click on that. You click on that, and then you just follow the prompts. You put it any address in California, it'll give you the taxes.
Hey, John, I want a PDF. I want to review again this one. This NSD, your Snap NSD. I know it's in a PDF form. Can you send it to my email? I'll send you my email. Is that okay?
Yeah, text me. You have my email, right? 818-915-3344.
Got you. Got
And I'll
it.
send it. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah,
You're
I
welcome.
need the PDF. Thank you.
Sure, no worries. And it's a sample. Okay, here is the sample tenant report. This is what you'd be ordering, and it's free. All the other companies charge ours is free. You put in the address, you follow the prompts, and it's free. We'll give you both flood zones, the special flood hazard and the area of potential flooding or dam inundation. There's places for them to sign off on it, and there's a map showing you with a legend where the flood zones are in conjunction with the property. So it's a great tool that you can use, but it's required by law when you're doing leases, only on residential properties. We do have a lot of clients that use it for the commercial use as well. Okay. And then we're going to go back here, and then I'm going to go to one more thing. The biggest thing right now is the wildfire disclosure report. Okay. The wildfire disclosure report is a tool. It is not required. And I would only get it if you're in a very high or high fire severity zone. And basically, what does it take into? It takes into account several different factors of wildfire vulnerability and ignition summary. So it takes into radiant heat, convection heat, ember entry heat, and ember accumulation. These are all things that are taken into account. Who else it takes into account? Insurance companies and other geotechnical people that were involved in putting this report together. And one of the other things that you really need to pay attention to when you get the report, find out, is it in a very high fire zone? And more importantly, is it subject to AB 38? Yes. But is it compliant with defensible space and home hardening in accordance with AB 38? This one is not. This is a sample. And it gives you some details. There's a map we're going to go to of the property, an aerial view of the property. All the circles are trees that may be need to be cut back or removed because they're a source of wildfire fuel. This map is pretty cool too, because it gives you the boundaries of the different homes. And then it also goes back and gives you the distances between 0 to 5 feet, 5 to 30 feet, 30 to 100 feet, and beyond. These are areas that have to be cleared out. And this is what's looked at when you're trying to keep a home with low wildfire risk. And this is what they're looking at. So it's a great tool for you to find out whether or not a property is in need of work. Here are some of the other places where we look to find out the fire risk. So you've got CAL FIRE rating, very high. You've got USDA rating, very high. And then you also have the CPUC rating, which is extremely high. Okay, and all these things are taken into effect. You've got maps showing you exactly what's going on with that property. And then you get an aerial view. This is from a satellite view, not an airplane, of AB 38 and the IBHS Wildfire Protected Home Summary. You see the circle parts, you can see the properties, you can see the different lines and the properties that are close to them. And you may have more than one building on a property. So those all have to be, if they're inhabitable, they all have to be cleared and taken into account what their wildfire risk is. And I want to show you one more thing here, and we're almost done. Where is it? See this? This is what you want to reduce. You can see it's in a red zone. You want to be down here yellow, but even better green. So if you do the things that they recommend to do, great, but there are some things that are required. And this does not guarantee fire insurance. It does not. But it's a roadmap to figure out what fire insurance will look at as, you know, when they're making their decisions on whether or not they're going to issue fire insurance. Okay, and here's another great map. This is the vulnerability mitigation summary, and it tells you conduction heat, radiance heats, and if there's anything that has to be removed, and it shows you where it is on the map, and they circle it. It's a very good tool. Remember, this is more detailed than an NHD report. NHD reports just tell you in-out determinations based on AB 38 and the CAL FIRE and the local fire departments. It does not give you the specifics on a particular property. And yes, it's within 6 months that they take these pictures, and maybe you do work on there. But if you're not doing everything that they tell you that needs to be done, like where it says here, it goes through everything. If you're not doing that, you're probably going to have a problem if you're in a high or very high fire severity zone in getting your insurance. Okay. And right here is our specifics here. Remove all trees, branches, and vegetation debris. There's 7 non-compliant trees. Remove all trees and branches, overhanging branches. There are 3 non-compliant. So there's 15 total there. And then this one is remove fuel in accordance with zone 2, fuel separation or continuous tree canopies or guidelines. And then 1 secondary structure, outbuilding, okay, and then it talks about going into more standards and things like that. But it is very specific as to what they're looking at and what you can do to reduce the fire risk, the wildfire risk and things like that. Okay. And any questions? I mean, like I said, I'm here. I'm doing this 30 years. I'm here to answer your questions. We have all the tools and we're tied in the car. Anything new, we will bring your way and make sure that you guys are protected and in the know and getting the most accurate information. And I'm going to stop sharing right now.
Hi, John.
John.
Yes,
John,
sir.
I have got a question. Now,
Sure.
it seems like this forest fire is for the benefit of the buyer, right?
Yes,
And it's not, you said it's not required. So if the buyer wants to do that, they have to pay for themselves, right?
they can. And here's the thing. CAR is pushing this very heavily because when you choose your NHD company, like we're the second option in there, after you choose it, boom, a window comes up and says, which company do you want to order the Fortress Fire from? And then there's a way to get around that, but you do have to select, just like the NHD, who's paying for it. And
Yeah.
a lot of escrows
So
won't cover it.
I don't see that the seller would like to pay for it because it's more like a Pandora's box for the
Yes,
for the seller, you know.
Wait, how much is the
It's 140.
one? How much?
$140. And
Oh,
here's
that's-
another thing. If you order it yourself without when not in escrow, you can't cancel it. So get your NHD, see what's going on with that. At time of listing, take it with you on a listing appointment. But when it comes time to deal with it, when you send it to escrow, say, yes, I want the wildfire report. Because say the transaction doesn't go through, that never happens. But if the transaction doesn't go through, you can cancel it. They'll allow you to cancel it if it goes through escrow. But if the party orders it, buyer or seller, they're stuck with the report and they have to make the payment on it. Okay. It's just a tool and it doesn't guarantee insurance. It's not mandatory to this year, but who knows next year, because CAR, they're always looking for ways to make money. But we'll let you know when the new stuff comes in. This is an important thing. It's to protect you guys because we back all our information and we put it together. A lot of companies buy parts of their reports, put it together, and they're not always accurate. With us, it's always accurate.
Hi,
Hey,
John.
John.
John,
Yeah,
question,
I have
John.
John, I have one question.
Yes.
Regarding all these information such as the trees show on the report, lots of these trees are not even in the inside the property. It's outside, and all the recommendation you say do this, do that. Well, let me give you an example. If that trees belong to the say county or city, how can you do that?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Yeah, the trees, you remember all those kind of say fires, you circle lots of say, hey, this tree could be cause some hazardous, okay? And you have a recommendation, this say, you should trim this tree, you should remove these trees, you should do this, you should do that.
Right.
But the tree, if I look at that, since none of the trees belongs to the property, it's outside boundary of the property, then how can you do that? You
No,
don't
here's the
have a
thing.
control.
I understand what you're saying. Remember, they're giving you different distances from the house that are in the defensible space part of it. So it may not be right next to the house. It may be in that 100-foot area. So it's more of a recommended than it is a required, because they have required and recommended information in there. So it's not something you have to do, but if it's trimmed back and it's a live tree, you may not have to do too much. But if it's a dead tree or it looks dead, it may be better if you remove it. But it's not mandatory and it's not guaranteeing insurance. It's just a roadmap to find out what is insurance companies and other people looking at in order to determine whether or not they're going to issue insurance. Does that answer your question?
Yes and no, because we are talking about something without our control.
Right.
You cannot control that.
Right.
If that is belong to the say county or city, you can approach to the city, say, hey, look at this report. It
Well,
is
if it's
better
not
for you
your
to do
house,
this.
if it's
Yeah.
not your property, you don't have to worry about it. It just depends on how close it is to the house, or the dwelling. But if it's not on your property, you don't have to worry about it. It's not something that would come into contention when they're looking to decide on issuing insurance. You understand what I'm saying? If it's the county who's responsible, then it's the county. You know what I mean? If
Okay,
it's not yours.
yeah. So yeah, as what Peter said, this is the opening the Pandora's box.
It is. It can be. But like I
Yes.
said, only time I would look at it is if I'm in a very high or high fire severity zone where I think I'm going to have, or I already know I'm going to have problems getting fire insurance. That's the
Yeah,
only
maybe-
time I would look at it.
I think my
I can
opinion
answer that from an insurance standpoint if you want, so that we don't go in circles.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I just trying to say. Maybe every time if I have this kind of property, I will send to Mark, say, Mark, take a look. Do you think we can get the insurance?
That's
The
definitely.
important
I
thing
agree.
from insurance companies, because that report is not what insurance companies are going to look at. They want to just see that the trees are away from the house. And most of the time, it's just that they don't want overhanging branches touching any parts of the house, whether it's over the house or on the side of the house. So as long as those are cut, what John said, those are recommendation from his standpoint. What's required by insurance, you gotta abide by, and that usually is where the tree branches are touching the house.
Got it.
It's
Okay,
not
thank you very
me.
much.
It's
simple.
wildfire disclosure report, not me.
Yeah.
And not my company. It's the wildfire disclosure report. That's the one who's making the recommendations. But insurance industry was involved with it, but it's not the only thing they look at. They'll walk around the house. I had cancellation of my insurance. Last year, I got a new insurance. They came out, walked around and said, do this. So I went around and I cut all the tree back. I had to do a lot of work to put it into compliance. I did, and I'm good.
Okay, thank
Do
you.
their recommendations.
All right. Alma, do you have a quick question?
Yes, let me lower my hand. Thank you. My question is, just to get clarity, because that's my word this year. So I received an offer, and in the offer, it says that the buyer's asking for the fortress.
Fortress fire.
Yeah, for that fortress fire insurance. So this is the $140 that we're talking about, correctly?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we as listing agents should not be afraid of this $140, right?
It's not something to be afraid of. It's just something to help. Is your property in a very high fire severity zone?
No.
It's not? It's not
No.
really necessary. I mean, you can talk to the buyer and say, do you really want this? Because if you do, I'm going to ask you to pay for it. Because
Oh, I
you're not in a
see.
very high fire. You can
That's
you can negotiate that point.
So just to clarify, John, just order the regular NHD upon listing.
Yes.
Not the forestry, right?
No, don't get the wildfire disclosure
I
report.
love that. Yeah, I love that we can say, hey, I'm so sorry, but this property is not in a high fire zone area. You don't need it. But if your buyer wants it, then you need to pay for that.
Exactly.
Right.
Got it. Now, okay, another clarity just to understand this whole thing, because this is new to us, right?
Sure. Yes, it is. It's been
Okay,
around 4
so-
months, but it's new.
Got it. Okay, so then they get this fire, from what I understand you explaining, they get this report, the report brings clarity on what needs to be done to clear this thing so that the home can get insured, maybe, right?
Maybe. And it's not that, it's to reduce wildfire risk. The clearing is to reduce wildfire risk. That's the key. Reducing wildfire risk. That's what all the recommendations and requirements that they're saying on there are reduced to wildfire risk based on the 3 or 4 fuel factors.
Got it. And not to put you on the spot, just one last thing. in that offer that I did receive, they did request First American NHD, okay? Now, what is the difference between the price? Is it all the same, you know?
Everybody does the same 140, but you
Got
can
it.
use them for NHD, but I would use us for Fortress Fire because number one, you're not going to get a bounce back email requesting information. You'll go directly to Fortress Fire. It'll process through
I
us.
love
You
that.
get it within 7 hours or so.
Cool. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My
All right.
question is done. My question is done.
I'm glad I was able to help.
All right, thanks, John. Thanks for everybody
Thank you.
for your involvement, engagement there. We're running out of time, so we're going to move forward with all of our other affiliates. I think Mark had to jump off, so we'll catch him the next time. Frank Delgadillo, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Had to jump on the phone because I had a little bit of a Wi-Fi issue here, especially with the rains and whatnot. But this is what we have to do sometimes when we have to change gears, right? Be diverse in our tactics, right? That sometimes one thing doesn't work, so we have to find another way to do it. So with this in mind, just thinking about motivation stuff. So rates have been jumping around. They've been going down, going back up, going back down, going back up. Fed rates didn't change anything. Call it good, call it bad, call it neutral. It is what it is, but rates have been kind of going around, and it is what it is. One thing I was going to say when it comes to motivation, because I know that we always talk about, hey, call your CRM, but sometimes we don't know who we're calling, right? So I got inspired by this one great agent out there, and it's not from Coldwell Banker, it's from another agent. So maybe Ruben, I can give you that name for that person so you can hopefully hire her. But she was great with what she said. And she said this, like, why don't we call our grandparents, maybe not ours, but even ours, but someone else's, and tell them, hey, has the cost of inflation been affecting grandma's pocketbook or purse? Has the cost of inflation been affecting them? Because this could be a good idea that we can help them in selling their home so they can move in with grandkids or sons or daughters, or maybe sons or daughters can help them out. That's more directed for a sales tactic piece. I was thinking more along the lines of reverse mortgage as a mortgage lender, which right now I'm getting my certification for reverse mortgage, which reverse mortgage is not just only for refinancing, but then abuelita or grandma or grandpa can sell their home, buy another one with the reverse mortgage, get a better home for themselves, maybe like downsize from a 4-bedroom, 5-bed, 3-bath to a 2-bedroom, 1-bath senior living, and have that extra comfort where they don't have to pay a mortgage bill. The reverse mortgage just helps them out. So it's a good way that I can help with that. I'm getting my certification, so I think I should have it done by next week. But I just thought about a good tactic that we should be calling up our uncles, grandparents, even our parents or our friends' parents, and see if maybe they might need help, because you never know. If we don't ask, we don't get, right?
Yep, I agree, Frank. But regardless of what prospecting tactic or method you use, the one thing that we always come back full circle is talking to people, right? You have to talk to people. So thanks for that, Frank. I appreciate that. Hopefully they drop the rates the next time around.
Right? Yeah.
Hoping for that quarter that they promised. Let's move on to, we have the First American team lined up. Let's go with Angie first. Angie Tang.
Good morning, CBG. Angie Tang, First American Title. How is everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's staying warm and dry in this weather because it's pretty brutal. It's flooded everywhere. So this is the perfect time to grab your cup of coffee and cold call. So if you don't have a cold call list, I can get that for you. I wanted to also share some stats with you. This was from our chief economist, Mark Fleming, and our VP of sales, Rob Law. So this just came out last week. So I wanted to share this information so that you can think about strategically how to use it to your advantage to leverage that marketplace once you hear these stats. So really quickly, 90% of all mortgaged homes have a mortgage under 6%. 80% of mortgage homes have a rate under 5%. 65% have mortgages under 4%, and 28% have mortgages under 3%. So how do you use those numbers to leverage your game plan and your target market? Please call me Angie Tang, First American Title. Thank you. Thanks, Ruben, Peter.
Thanks, Angie. Great information, great statistics too. And I love that smile that always comes on. Appreciate that. All right, let's move on to Sandy Franco.
Good morning, fellow banker George. So we're gonna be there Wednesday. We have a lunch and learn. Come, eat lunch, learn. I don't know. It's not gonna be raining. Seems like a good day to come out. All three of us will be there. You'll learn a little bit of something from all three of us. So we're gonna talk about how to maximize the marketing. We're gonna talk about what's new in NHD. Brandon can go into this Fortress Fire stuff in more detail because clearly there are questions and Brandon can answer them face to face. And Angie's going to talk about all the stuff to help you get your farm set so we can get this stuff done. So we'll see you guys for lunch on Wednesday.
Good.
Thank you, Sandy. Brandon, good morning.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, CBG. Hope everyone had a great weekend and staying dry. And just like Sandy said, we are bringing you guys lunch, which I know you love. And also, like she said, I'm going to be going over those updates, going into more detail, and any more questions that you may have, please put those questions together and you can ask me those. And you can reach out to me at any time to go over that. But as we know, there's a lot of new in NHD, and we haven't had a lot of new stuff prior to the last 5 years. That change to the signature page, we haven't had a change in over 20 years. And so this is big changes for NHD. So if you do not get something, you have questions, that's why we're here. We're here to help you out. So I hope everyone has a fantastic day and look forward to seeing you this week.
Thank you, Brandon. So agents, you have an abundance of affiliates, an abundance of tools to utilize to grow your business, to generate business. Use them, okay? Don't let them go to waste. Use them. Add them to your arsenal of tools and give them a call. See how they can help you, okay? Let's move forward with the meeting because we are running behind. Some birthday shout outs for the week. Anna Losada, Joseph Shen, Sunshine, Ruben Galvan, and Christina Garcia. Happy birthday. I hope you guys enjoy your birthday week, okay? Hope you guys stay dry. Some reminders for this week's classes and training. As the First American team indicated earlier, this Wednesday, we have a lunch and learn with all three of them. The First American team, which is Angie, Brandon, and Sandy. So come have some lunch. Hopefully the rain subsides a little bit. That'll be at 1 p.m. here in the Alhambra office. Friday training, we will be going over AIR forms. I think we're going to be going over LOI. Michelle, are you on with us?
I'm here. We're going to be going over LOI, and then we will do the AIR leasing later.
Okay,
but
perfect.
Not in the same venue. Okay.
Perfect. So another commercial class. So please attend. That's 10 a.m. this coming Friday. Okay. Hybrid, obviously. So if you want to come on in, come visit us. If not, join us via Zoom. Some prospecting and other reminders. Caravans, they're going to be a little light this week due to the rain, but they're still out there. So if you have chance, go take a look at some inventory and see what the other agents are doing. Just want to remind everybody to stay focused and maintain your positive mindset. That is very important in our current market industry, okay? Stay top of mind and constantly stay in touch with your sphere of influence, because if you don't, your competitor will, okay? And then continuously be learning, okay? Refine your skills, add value to yourself, okay? Because that's going to be the difference in 2024. You preferably over the competitor is how much value you put yourself, okay? And that you're going to get through our classes, our training, and also CBU. For those of you that are fluent with CBU, I applaud it. For those of you who are not, go on to Coldwell Banker University. That's a tile within your CB desk, and there's an abundance of tools and self-taught classes there, okay? Couple other reminders. If any agent out there knows of any agent that is thinking of making a switch in a brokerage or is not happy with their current brokerage, please refer them to Doug or myself. We live to chat with them. There is two compensation referral programs out there. one on a brokerage level, and one on a corporate level. Okay, so there's a way for you to get a little bit more income just by referring outside agents to both Doug and myself. Okay, that's all I have for today. Oh, one last thing. We started a new session. It's called Brainstorming Thursdays. It's the first Thursday of every month, once a month. Okay, it's for 1 hour between 3 and 4 p.m. Okay, we had one last week. We had a couple agents come in. Hopefully it gets to a larger crowd. This session is live with Michelle, myself. Hopefully Peter and Doug can join us as well. But it's an opportunity to bring whatever you want to discuss, whether it be technical, technology, forms, how to get business, share your ideas, collaborate with other agents, see what works for one. Whatever it is, we have an hour with management and your other colleagues to help you grow your business, okay? So that's the first Thursday of every month. I will be sending out reminders prior to that session, but just want to let everybody know, mark your calendars if you're interested. This session will not be virtually streamed, and it will not be recorded, okay? So it's just for in-person. It's meant to build teamwork and collaborate with each other to motivate each other and hopefully generate business. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Doug for Arcadia Business. Doug?
Good morning, everybody. Wow, Arcadia was on fire last month. 27 listings. I'm going to just tell you about the last 6. But I do want to remind you, I noticed Laura Shin's on the call here. She has at least 3-bedroom, 3-bath on Arcadia Avenue in Arcadia for $4,200. And don't forget about Nick's Townhouses in Pasadena at California and Lake. $2,698,000 luxury townhouses, the best area and 2.5% commission. So he's not being skimpy on the commission, guys. 2.5% commission. It's almost a $3 million townhouse. 4 of them. Okay, the 6 I'm going to tell you about. On Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena, we have a body shop. It is $3,500,000. And on Azusa Road in Temple City, another body shop, $9,500,000. Both of them are listed by Nick Borelli. Also, we have a residential lease on Encinitas in Temple City, a little 1-bedroom, 1-bath, $1,850, Kathy Chu. Juan and Jimmy in Boyle Heights. Man, they got a nice listing here. Ton of people are showing it. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, $650. Not bad. Anyway, Shirley also has a lease, 1-bedroom, 1-bath in Arcadia, actually with a pool, I think, to use, $2,200. Shirley's not here this week because she's a brand new grandma. Her daughter just had a baby girl last week. Also, Kathy Chu has a lease, Rancho Cucamonga, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, $3,000 a month. And I'll tell you about a couple of leases and sales. On Southview in Arcadia, Alden Lai had this listing for a while. Finally sold it, $738 as a condo. Liz Webb in Roland Heights, another condo, $435. Shirley did a lease in South Armani, $3,200. Alma, you did a lease in Arcadia on La Cadena, right near the office here, $3,500. And Shirley Guerrera had another lease, $3,500 in Fontana. So things are cooking here in Arcadia. I sent to my agents a 6-minute video I received this morning from Mike Ferry. Ruben, I sent it out to you. I thought it was pretty good. You might want to send it out to your agents. It's just 6 minutes, but he's got 6 really good points to make. Everybody have a great week. Stay dry, stay safe.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Doug.
I did get that video. I will forward it to all our agents here at Alhambra. Thank you for that. Business for Alhambra, we have a listing from Nina Shu in Monterey Park. This is a condo for $740. Again, those are the ones in Monterey Park. So if you have anybody interested in purchasing them, please contact Nina Shu. Shumacam has 2 leases in Roland Heights, one for $4,900, another one for about $7,500 a month. And Justin Sal, he has a residential listing in Hacienda Heights for $724,999, so just shy of $725,000. A couple of new escrows. Nina Shu's got 3 new escrows in that same complex in Monterey Park, those condos. Karina Pang has a condo in Santa Ana for $645,000. Christine Fenn has a condo in Pasadena for $949,000. Sunshine Galvan has a condo in Pasadena for $760,000. And then Shumakam has a lease in Monterey Park for $494,000. Congratulations to all those listing agents and sales agents on all their accomplishments. Congratulations. All right, with that, I'll hand it over to Peter for his update.
Okay, thank you, Ruben. Good morning, Co-Banker George. Hope you had a nice weekend. It was kind of wet and cold. I think so. The best thing it was to stay at home and relax, and that's exactly what I did. But anyway, I have a very important topic to share with you this week, and it's regarding the housing law, the fair housing laws. Basically, it's the discrimination laws. And you probably think that will never happen to you, but hey, it's easier than you thought. People, a lot of people are chasing after the agents for discriminations because it's a big deal. Right now, the discrimination is considered to be very vital in the industry, and the DRE is pushing for it, and civil right department is pushing for it. HUD is pushing for it. So and that is a real reality because last week we had another discrimination case in the office, and that's not pleasant. At least it's not pleasant for me because once I get the case, I have to spend a lot of time trying to explain to the civil rights department what we did, and we have to do all the files and the documents, and it's a lot of hassles. So I want to revisit this and try to inform all the agents and how important it is to keep the discrimination law in mind, and so that you won't get in trouble. Because once you get in trouble, hey, you're dealing with the DRE, you're dealing with the civil rights department, you're dealing with HUD, and probably you're going to deal with the E&O insurance. And you know that even though the E&O insurance covers the claim and the lawsuit, but it's $20,000 deductible. Okay, so in other words, you have to pay the first $20,000 when you need to defend yourself. Okay, so don't get in trouble with the discrimination laws. So anyway, so the source of discrimination laws comes from the federal, state, and the local. There are 3 federal laws, which is the Federal Fair Housing Act and the Federal Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and the Federal Americans with Disability Act. And there are 4 the state laws, which is California Fair Employment and Housing Act, California UNRRA Civil Rights Act, California Ralph Civil Rights Act, and the California Disabled Persons Act. And lastly, you have a local fair housing ordinances too for the discrimination. And as if it is not enough, last year the California passed the regulation 2780 Title 10, and they basically did expand the 6th category of protected characteristics into 26 characteristics, and basically everybody will be protected against the discrimination in some sense. And also the most important thing is that discrimination can be overt and occur in single incidents and can be shown by a pattern of conduct. So in other words, you don't need to be an intent. You don't necessarily need to really want to do the discrimination acts, but rather if you really by basically acting you have an overt intent, that will be sufficient. And also the discrimination doesn't, doesn't need to prove the intent. In other words, it's not, that has to be intentional. And so as a result of that, there's 26 category of people protected against the race, color, religion, sex, gender identity, gender expressions, sexual orientations, marital status, national origin, ancestry, familial status, source of income, disability of age, and a medical condition, genetic information, citizenship, primary language, immigration status, military status, arbitrary characteristic, and the individual perceived to be a member of the protected class, and also the individual associated with any member of the protected class. So basically, almost everybody in some way or another is protected by this fair housing rule and discrimination laws. Okay, and the people that applies to is very pervasive. As I said, basically everybody involved with the real estate or housing will be be subject to this the laws. So basically, if you're a seller, buyer, a real estate agent, a property manager, the bank or the landlord, sublessor, or a homeowners association, mobile parks, and you are subject to these discrimination laws. So, and all the acts are protected. There are a whole bunch of acts that you are prohibited. I'm not going to go into the detail of these. Suffice to say that it's very pervasive, and then you have to be careful of the acts that you do. And basically, the activities are against what the laws against is the steering, which is to discourage a buyer or renter's choice of neighborhood, saying that the neighborhood is not good for them. And also the blockbuster, which implies the improper influencing the seller or renter to get out of the neighborhood, saying that the neighborhood is not good for them also. And thirdly, the vague or opinion phrase such as the school with a low test score. A lot of times people, the agents want to promote the locality of the listing, and saying they have a good school district, and with a very high test score, they try to promote the San Marino the properties, which is not proper. Okay, you cannot do that. But you can discuss the factual objective facts of the school. So in other words, if you can say that, well, so far and this year they have good reading of the school, then without saying that it's a good or bad, then it's okay. And anything that's objective, that's okay. And also, you cannot use the criminal history to get the tenancy or to apply put it on the application as a factor to determine whether the tenants qualify or not. Well, there are some common discriminations in leasing. I know a lot of agents are doing leasing now. Whether it's worthwhile for you to do is very subjective, and you have to decide yourself. But there are areas that you have to be careful with, and most of them occurs in the restrict number of people in the residence, or discrimination based on the disability of the tenant, or the pets issue, whether you have issue regarding the service animal or emotional support animal, and the discrimination based on race, and discrimination based on the source of income, and the discrimination discriminatory advertisement. So the first thing is about the maximum number of people allowed for apartment. Now, most of the time you said, oh, well, for 2 apartments, you only need you only want to rent it to two couples, four people together, a maximum. But that's not the case. The Uniform Housing Code set a minimum requirements, and then if they satisfy the minimum requirement, they are entitled to live in that apartment. So the basic rule is, the general standard is that if you have a 2-bedroom, you can rent it up to 6 people, and the 3-bedroom you can rent it to about 9 people. So the basic rule is that you can rent to 2 people plus 1 for each bedroom. Okay, and when it comes to the pets, it's getting more popular now that people have pets, and the landlord does have the ability to regulate the pets, but to a certain extent. If the pet is a service animal, then by definition it's not a pet. So you have different criteria for those service animals and the support animals. And now California law prohibits the landlord from requiring or encouraging existing tenants or potential tenants to devocalize or declaw the dog or cats. In other words, you cannot say that it was making too much noise, so you want to devocalize it, or if it's too vicious, you want to declaw the dog. You cannot do that. But nevertheless, there's nothing in the law prevents a landlord from requiring only the spray or neuter animals. So in other words, you can still require that the dog, the cat is neuter or spray or spayed. So that is allowable. Now, when you come to support animal, you have to allow the tenant to have support animal if they have the emotional disability. That's the law. So when they have this support animal, they claim that they need the support animal. All you can ask is that, hey, whether the tenant has this emotional disability, and if that animal is certified to relieve their emotional disability. So that's the only question they can ask for support animals. Now, and so if the animal, okay, and in other words, you can ask 2 questions: whether he or she is disabled with the meaning of the law, and if the animal is needed to reasonably accommodate the tenants of the disability. And you can ask for the written verification. Now, that written verification doesn't have to come from a doctor. It can be from anybody that knows the tenants and know that they have the disability. Now, the service animal, as I said, is not a pet. When you see a eye-seeing dog, with the people who has a white cane, now that is obvious that the animals is serving as a service animal. So with that, you can only ask 2 questions. So the first question you ask is, does the individual has a disability? And the second question is, what's the disability-related test that the animal has been trained to perform? So after you ask these 2 questions, you cannot answer ask any more question, such as when you have to ask them to demonstrate the test or the things that the animal has to do. So and also you cannot ask what kind of disability that the person has, which is a confidential. You cannot ask that question. So another discrimination is the source of income. The source of income refers to verifiable income that is paid directly to the tenancy. For example, the alimony, the child support, SSI income, and the government housing vouchers such as the Section 8 and active military subsidized. So in the Section 8, both the tenant and the landlord has to apply, and then the Section 8 will send someone to look at the property and certify the properties whether the property is eligible for the Section 8. And I know that it takes a little time to do, but the landlord has to accommodate that waiting process, and also they have to do the repairs of the house or the condo if they are required to do so. So, and also for the active duty military tenants, they have a special special treatment for the for the maximum security deposit, which is 1 month. So for active military tenant, you cannot get more than 1 month security deposit. Also, a seller cannot reject any offer based on the buyer's selection of the VA loans or the type of financing either. And another requirement for the Section 8 is that the landlord cannot use a FICO score as the rejection for the Section 8 tenant. That is the laws that was passed last year. So that's particularly for Section 8. For advertisement, the discriminatory advertisement, you cannot say no Section 8 or no kids or adult only, no unmarried persons, Christmas only, or no pets, or maximum number is 5 or 4 or 8 or something like that, and no felons and no active military. And the penalty for the violation of discrimination is pretty stiff, So, and it's very, very easy to make a claim. They can just go to HUD or the Civil Rights Department and say that, hey, you discriminated me because of this. They have so many categories, and it's not hard for them to find out one category where you violated, and then they make a big deal of it. Okay, so once they make the claim to HUD, it's a it's a lot of hassle for the agent and the brokerage. So please avoid that as much as possible. And if you have any question regarding the any suspicion of tenants or seller buyer want to make claims against you on a discrimination basis, talk to your manager, talk to me, and we can also figure it together and try to prevent it from happening. Because once it happened, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work out of you, out of me, and it's and also pay. You have to pay for the legal fees too in case you lose. And even if the E&O covers the defense of the claim, you have $20,000 deductible. So in other words, you have to pay the first $20,000 in order to defend your case. And I don't think that that is very pleasant for anybody. Okay, so try not to get into trouble. And it is real out there. A lot of attorneys are chasing after the agents for discrimination claims. So beware of that and be very, very careful. Okay. And so with that, I'll stop the sharing. If there's any questions, please ask me now. I know we ran out of time, but I'm sorry for that. Any questions?
Peter,
Peter.
in regard, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is more complicated than I thought.
Yeah.
I have one question.
Yeah.
I very long time ago, there's one website that have a so-called registered sex offender, in the area. And now, according to your presentation, this guy, I mean, the potential prospect tenant is have any kind of crime history, including a sex offender. You cannot reject him.
Yeah, you cannot use their criminal history as a base to reject their application. That's right.
So the risk is very high.
What?
Risks. Risks is
Yeah,
very
the
high.
risk is, although the risk is very high, yeah, but unfortunately, that's the law.
Yeah,
Well,
and
on the, yeah, go ahead.
okay, and the
Yes,
on the we see lots of advertisement on my MSA. I need to see 3 months of a paycheck stub, all those kinds of things. Those are still good. They are request to see your income. Show us what is your income. But
yeah, you
this,
can ask for that. There's no problem.
oh, okay.
But
Thank
you cannot get the source of income. In other words, well, you can say, well, where do you get the income from? From SSI or from Section 8?
Oh, I see.
You cannot do that.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Alma?
Okay, so my question is, when I recently did that lease in the rent spree, they did ask and like felony, yes or no. Is that something that we're liable for? Because that is a rent spree situation, not ours.
I don't get to your first.
In the rent spree, there's something called rent spree when people rent something. They have to fill out this thing called rent spree. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. And every time you apply, it's $40, which is a ripoff in my opinion.
I'm not aware of that. Do they have that kind of thing, rent free?
It's called rent spree.
Yeah. What does it do?
Peter, so Rent Spree is a screening platform that screens tenants for realtors so that the landlord can make a calculated decision. And I think, Alma, what you're asking is during the screening of that third-party platform, they asked the tenant if they've what was the question again?
One of them is any felonies? Yes, no.
Well, then it's their problem. It's not your
Got
problem.
it. Perfect. Okay, so my next question, not to take, just to have clarity. Also, we recently went to an AAR training where there was an attorney there. He went really fast on this issue, but it has to be with the owner giving a notice to the tenant. Okay, I know this has nothing to do with what you taught, but I just want clarity and see if you know about this. Now, if we get a listing and there is a tenant there, are we able to give a 60-day notice depending on the time frame, right? 1 year or more, whatever, right?
Yeah.
The 60-day or 30 day.
Yeah.
Can you give a notice?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can you give a notice to these people because you're gonna sell the property, or like what are the rules to that? Because I didn't really understand the attorney at that moment. I know he said that if you're giving them a notice based on the owner moving into the property, then they will check that the owner must live there for the next 3 years. There is that rule that came into
That's
effect.
true. That's true. But if you're going to give us a regular 60 notice, I don't think you need to give them any reason, unless they have the local rental ordinance that you cannot evict the tenant except you have a justifiable reason. But if you have a regular tenancy and it's from month to month, you just give them the 60-day notice. You don't need to give any reason.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can I offer a comment, Peter?
Yeah, sure, Sylvia.
Hi. I have a rental client currently, and they have 2 daughters. One of the daughters works for a property management company, and she just had that incident like Alma was presenting. She was notified to evict the property, but she and her family have been living there for years, and she inquired with an attorney, and the attorney told her, because you have been there for so long, they cannot evict you just within 90 days. They have to give you more than the regular term. And
Right,
so
that's
she
true.
did, and they gave her a good sum of money to be able to have them move out because the owner wants to sell the property, but they have
Right.
to give them money, award them money so that they can do that move.
Yes, yes, that's a regular, practice. That's
Yes.
most of the time they would do that. Yes. That's allowable. That's no problem. Okay, any more questions? Sorry it took so long, but I really have to remind the people about discrimination.
Yeah. Well-
Because it's getting out of hand.
Actually, Peter, I do have a question. This is Marcy. How are you?
Marcy.
So when you take a listing and there's a section where it talks about financing and it does have like something about VA loans there. So are you supposed to always check that box off? Because you're saying you can't discriminate on what kind of loan
You
they
cannot
have.
discriminate the VA loan. Yeah, you have to cooperate with them.
So then when you do take a listing and you have those boxes where it says conventional, all the different types of loans, cash,
Yeah.
cash to loan, it says VA loan there. Do you always have to click that or you just?
No, you don't have to always do that, but if you do, you have to disclose it.
You have to disclose. Oh, no, I'm saying what kind of loan the new buyer can have.
What if, Peter, what if the property will not comply with VA or FHA standards?
Well, then, you still have accommodated, but if it doesn't qualify for it, that's another story. So it's up to the VA whether they want to approve it or not.
Why
It's
would
not
a
for you. It's not for you to just turn it down.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
I
see.
think what Marcy is saying is that in the MLS, right? Which is something we don't do as agents, but our transaction people do. It does ask in that section, it says type of financing. I always put submit, but I don't think that's the right answer. I think what Marcy is saying is, okay, now with the fair housing laws, do we put all of them? Because, hey, everyone is welcome or what? That's what the question is. What, Marcy?
Well,
Correct.
I think what you could do is just put cash to new loan. You're not indicating what type of loan. Let them indicate that if that loan is not applicable or not, but you're disclosing that either cash or a new loan. Right, Peter?
Yeah. You don't have to require them to have VA loan. It can be any loans. But once they put down VA loans, you cannot discriminate against them.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, folks. Well, I hope you guys got value today. It was a lot of information. I hope you absorbed it all. And stay dry out there and keep prospecting, okay? Thank you all.
Thank you,
See you
Ruben.
next-
Thank you, Peter.
Have a nice week. Bye-bye.
Call me, email me. I'm here for you. Thank you. Have a
Okay.
great